As you can see here, the two main devices that I'm daily driving right now is the 2DS XL, which you know if you've watched this channel for any length of time is something I always gush about. But I did finally manage to get a PS Vita. I don't know if you remember the episode where I was doing a tier list. I'm a tier list of the different handhelds that are available, officials, not emulation devices. And when I got to the PS Vita, I said it's going to be maybe as good as the PSP, but I'm not sure because I never used one and I hope to get one. Well, now I've got one and I can tell you that I love it. It's very, very good. Very good device. It's still in the early days. Maybe I will change my opinion, but right now, a really good complementary device for the 2DS XL. When I play something a bit more serious, a bit more adult, or if I want to play with just a superior screen, because this is the PS Vita 1000, which has the OLED screen. As you can see, just even in this little video quality right now, you can see the difference between the two. It's night and day, really. That is the only one complaint I have so far, is I usually play the Vita in bed, and the OLED screen, even on the lowest brightness, at times burns your eyes out, and I feel like I'm the Limmy meme. So that's one downside to it so far. But as far as like actual use, these two are now my daily drives, with the bonus, as you saw in the unpacking there, of the Miu Mini, which I have for certain scenarios where something super small and super compact is really useful. But yeah, so these are the two that I run every day, and you know the reasons why I run these. Both great consoles, and the only reason I suppose that I would not fully replace the 2DS is because obviously there are games that still use two screens, and there's no better way to play those than on a native handheld that has two screens. So for me, that's the 2DS XL. So yeah, so that's that. So obviously with these devices, I have the appropriate chargers, as you saw. So I have a 2DS charger, which is basically a USB-A that I got from Japan that has a little adapter, and that adapter I've got on currently is for the 2DS, but there are adapters for all the different consoles. In fact, I think I even have one for the Vita, but I could just be using one cable, but I don't like to do that. I like to have redundancy, and in this case the redundancy is that I also have charging cable for the Vita, which is handy to have. And all of these are USB outputs because, as you saw, the other thing that's in this list that is worth really mentioning is this Anker battery. This one's a big one. This is like 20,000 milliamps or 22,000 milliamps, something like that. This is more than enough to charge these devices multiple times. But that's why I carry it, because there are scenarios and times where I'm stuck for whatever reason when I'm traveling. Maybe it's a delayed flight, or maybe it's the train that I was supposed to get I missed it or something. Yeah, so to have the ability to charge on the go is very important. Obviously, the priority for the charger is always going to be my phone, because your phone is going to be the thing with Google Maps, the thing with everything that you need to kind of travel more effectively and efficiently, booking flights, etc., etc., etc. So juice for your phone is obviously the most important thing, but that's why I've got an oversized charging bank, because I have a lot of power going on within this bag. Now, another thing to talk about is, of course, let me just move all this stuff. Another thing to talk about is why do I have chopsticks, and why do I have this little portable credit card sized knife and fork? And the reason is quite simple, especially when I was in countries like Indonesia and when I was in certain places in Thailand. I just like using the cutlery that I want to use. Now, sometimes in Thailand, the most common cutlery configuration is a spoon and fork, and that's fine. And for most meals, it's fine. But sometimes you get a spoon and fork, and some of the meat is not cut up like into edible chunks. So then you've got to try and saw it with the spoon, or try and chew it on your fork and get it off. And yeah, I just don't like that. So I have separate knife and fork that I always have on me. It's just really handy sometimes, like when you go to a takeaway and maybe they don't have cutlery, or you don't get cutlery. You're never caught out when you've got your own. And as for chopsticks, these are oak chopsticks that I got from the Nika distillery in Japan, I really love these chopsticks and I really like eating with chopsticks. So some meals I would prefer it, and that way I've got whatever I need, right? I've got chopsticks and I've got this. Also helps if you really care about the environment that I don't have to, you know, use a plastic single-use cutlery item.
I'm doing my part too.
These are multiple use, stay in my bag. I clean them, you know, when I get back home, or if I'm able to clean them in a bathroom or something. But yeah, so I personally found these really useful. This is my lucky 1,000 yen. And the reason it's my lucky 1,000 yen is simply because the 6 months travel in Japan was so insane. There was so much room for error constantly with every decision we made. And there was lots of times where things were sketchy, but nothing went wrong. And so I've decided this 1,000 yen note that I always had on me for emergencies that I never end up spending is somehow lucky, even though luck isn't real and it's fictional. But that's why I carry that on me. It's a sentimental thing. It reminds me of a interesting time, and I believe that it's lucky, even if that is not a quantifiable thing. My Animal Kaiser cards. I have a story to tell you about Animal Kaiser right now. The machine that I play in Thailand has gone. I went to play it and the machine was turned off, and I thought that was weird. I know the machine often has issues with cards getting stuck and whatnot, but the machine was off and I thought, oh, that's not great. I'm going to ask them if the machine is going for good, and if it is, would they be willing to sell it to me? Because depending on the price, I probably would have picked it up. Anyway, they tell me that the machine's fine, it just ran out of cards, they're sent off for more cards, and once those cards come from Bangkok back up here to Chiang Mai, that I will be able to play the machine again, to come back into 2 weeks and should be all fine. I come back in 2 weeks' time, the machines are gone, they've been sold, and I'm sad. So I have no Animal Kaiser machine anymore, but I hear that there's some in the UK, so I've still got my cards. So I look forward to playing that. But that's what these are. These are my Animal Kaiser cards, and you could check the video in the description. Well, not in the description, but somewhere there or there. Wow, I can't work. This way. This is the way that they're going to be. This will be where the thing will pop up. Yeah, if you want to see a video on Animal Kaiser and why it's an absolutely insane game designed for children and me. Right, the next thing on the list was these little books. I love Muji because it has these little cheap books that are, this one, make sure this one's empty before I start revealing my secrets. But yeah, I get these dotted where you can draw, you can write, it's easy to do both. Little passport memo books. And they're really useful for me for writing down content ideas, taking notes, planning my life. I'm kind of a planner person, so yeah. So I always have books on me, and they're always useful in downtime when I have ideas and I need to write them down. It feels better for me to write them down than it does for me to put it on my phone. I've tried that whole system. I think it's just a personal preference thing. And I have a pen, obviously, to write in it, which is a pen of Zorro from One Piece. But yeah, so there we go. That's my little notepad section. I think it's handy if you're a type of person who's a creative or a person who needs to keep a schedule, plan things, and doesn't like to use their phone. Little notebooks, they're worth it. I think so anyway. So you saw these. This is, of course, inner sleeves for cards, because when I was traveling, often I would end up in hard-offs, book-offs, etc., etc., etc. when I was in Japan, and then obviously in other countries in the world, I might be in just a supermarket or a shop and they might have magic cards, or they might have, you know, Pokemon cards or something. And I would buy the odd pack, and if I pulled something good, I obviously wanted to protect those things, so I had these. Also useful for whenever I found an Animal Kaiser machine, that if I pulled anything good there, I could sleeve them straight up. And so for me, personally, having some sleeves always at hand, useful. I'm sure that's not the case for most of you, but for me, this is my daily drive bag, so I'm just showing you everything that's in it. I'm going to do all these things together, because I think that they're all kind of in the same place. Right, so we have deodorant, we have anti-bite, we have SPF 50 face cream, we have cologne, and we have some ibuprofen basic painkillers. These are things that are just quality of life, right? First of all, you don't want to smell. No one should want to smell, or at least bad anyway. So having some deodorant that you can rely on, and for me I wear a lot of white t-shirts and I wear a lot of black t-shirts. I want something that's not going to mess them up, so I have this Nivea Men Black and White Invisible spray for that reason, you know, so. Just a useful thing to have. You don't want to be the smelly one. And then face cream, I have quite a strict skin care regime, but the important part of it, and I think this is the most important part about any skincare regime, is actually just having a good SPF sunblocker for your face. That will make the biggest difference out of everything. And yeah, so I highly recommend making sure you're always looking after yourself, skin included. Next is after bite. I'm in Thailand. I could just leave it there, but I'm not going to leave it there. The mosquitoes here are ferocious, to say the best. Ferocious, yeah. And getting bitten by one of those or anything over here is always unpleasant. So having some Afterbite, and I think this is genuinely the best stuff that you can get, this brand called Afterbite. That goes on the bite, immediately soothes it, immediately stops the itching. Brilliant. I mean, if you're someone who's got big allergic reactions, you might want to also add antihistamines to your bag, but for me, it's just anti-bite. Cologne, this is my day scent. And then the last thing here is ibuprofen, because I suffer from migraines now and then, and being able to, well, being old enough to know when I'm starting to get one and just drop one of these, it usually subdues it enough to make life bearable. That's what I go for. It's also useful for just aches and pains in general, and you'd rather have a small pack of these and not need it than need it and not have it. So trust me, this is just basically a self-care section of the bag, and it's just a day bag, so it's not too crazy, but you know, you should care for yourself. You can play games too, but you know, look after yourself as well. So you've seen this before, if you've been on the channel before. This is my little 𝙬𝙗𝙧𝙚 Q1 digital audio player. This just has all my music on, and I love it to bits. And obviously I have the accompanying headphones, which at the moment are just my nice in-ear, which ones are these again? I always forget the name. These are the ZSN Pro X hybrid drivers. Just a really good combination if you like nice sounding audio. When I go back to England, I'll have my nice big headphones, but while traveling, you want to keep your footfall small, so good pair of in-ear monos is a good way to go. And obviously a digital audio player. Or you could just use your Spotify or anything else that you really like. It doesn't matter. It's your bag, go crazy. You probably saw this and you thought, why has he got a fat-tipped stylus? Well, the fat-tipped stylus is my preferred method of playing on... See, I have got a stylus in my 2DS, obviously. Everyone has one. But I really prefer this thick tip. It leaves no damage on the screen. I have a screen protector on, but it leaves no damage on the screen, and it's just a nicer, softer experience. You've got no problem moving it around. Does the thing really well. I just prefer it. So for me, it's just a stylus preference, and these are really cheap. In fact, I got this one because I lost my other one. I got this one in Thailand for, I think, about £1. £1.20, which is like $1 for people that work in dollars. So yeah, it's just cheap, but it does the job. The soft squidgy end is what stops it from scratching the screen, and I like it a lot. Last but not least, you saw in my emergency section, I have got in a nice little Kirby bag, because my Vita now uses the old cloth bag that my Miyoo Mini used to use. The Vita's now got that. And the Miyoo Mini has one of these cloth bags, and I've got quite a few of these cloth bags in different sizes and shapes from gachas in Japan. And this one's just a really good size for the Miyoo Mini, so there we go. You'll see other ones of these on some of the other consoles I've got, but that's for later. And yeah, the Miyoo Mini. The Miyoo Mini is just old reliable for me, and because it uses USB-C charging, it's the same cable I use my phone. So you're probably thinking, well, I didn't see a USB-C charging cable in your kit there, Ben. So how do you charge things? Well, I'm currently using that cable on this camera. So that cable would also be in this bag. But yeah, so USB-C cable for my phone and for the Miyoo Mini, and it also works on my 𝙬𝙬𝙧𝙚 Q1 digital audio player. So yeah, all in all, it all just good synergy. You know, you've got items in there that help you eat. You've got items in there that help you charge your devices. You've got power. You've got the devices themselves, which is a good range. You've got, you know, the good games that you get from the 2DS. You've got the more adult games that you get on the Vita and PSP, because if you've got it hacked like mine is, then you get really easy access to the PSP games as well, which is fantastic. And with those two, the only things left over that aren't shared by any of them are emulation games, and well, the Miu Mini has it there, and the Miu Mini is perfect for if I'm in a queue or if I'm just, you know, got a little bit of time to kill and I don't want to get one of the big consoles out. I say big, but you know, one of the other handhelds out, and that's how I do it. And I think it's worked really well for me. It's a good setup. I think that going forwards, these three are going to be quite possibly my main daily drivers for my day bag, for going out and doing stuff. These will always be on me because they're all just so useful. Steam Deck, I still play, but that is mostly in the evenings, in the house. It's like a weird in-between point where you can't be bothered to play something on your laptop and you want to just lay on the sofa, but you still kind of want to play something that's kind of a bit more special or a bit more graphically powerful than these three, and that's when I'd get the Steam Deck out and use that. But yeah, that's basically my day bag system, my day bag routine, and I'd like to know what you think and what do you have in your bags. I often see a lot of other people post my Nintendo Switch bag or my Game Boy bag or whatever, but it always seems to be like literally just focused on the tech and hardware, and I just figured you might be interested in seeing something that's actually been used to travel the world and has practical items in it that make your life easier, as well as also having gaming items in there, because it's not just all about gaming. You still have to go from place to place, right? So yeah, that's my bag laid out. I've laid bare for you, and yeah, I'd love to hear what yours is. If you think there's anything I've missed, if you think there's anything that I could really use that I've not added in, maybe like a really, I don't know because I haven't thought of it, right? It's not in there, but maybe there's something really obvious that I've not got in there. You might think passport. My passport does sometimes go in that bag, but mostly passport and super important documents go in a hidden waist bag that's under my clothes, so there's no risk of me losing it like an idiot, because that could happen. Thank you for watching this little bizarre video on loadouts. It's been Ben at Pixel Portable. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.